You're locked into Faith Under the Lights with Zach and Nolan, the podcast where faith and sports collide. We will spotlight athletes who are unashamed of the gospel and living boldly for Christ both on and off the field. Don't forget to like, follow, and share this podcast with others who need to hear these powerful testimonies. Faith Under the Lights. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back to Faith Under the Lights. Got another athlete interview for us today in this episode. We got Kassidy Rivero. And so, Kassidy, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Livingston, Louisiana. I go to Doyle High School. I am a senior, and I play softball and basketball both for the school.
Okay, softball and basketball, two-sport star. Let's jump into some faith questions because this is a faith-based podcast where faith and sports collide. How did you come to know Christ? How did you get into the Christian walk and know Jesus? How did that all evolve?
Yeah, so ever since I was a little girl, I've always grown up like reading my Bible, praying. I've went to church camp with my friends multiple times. We kind of shared stories together. Growing up in my life, I've always had a Bible and I've always read it, but I didn't really understand and fully grasp and wasn't able to understand what it was kind of telling me. I was really young at the time, maybe around like 10. I started going to church every single Sunday at Coyell Baptist Church in Coyell with my grandparents, my Mimi and my pawpaw. And the preacher there, Brother Jeremy, he is probably the most down-to-earth person I have ever met. And I started going, and again, I wasn't able to understand or fully grasp what I was being told. I kind of just went and I was like, okay, I'm going to church. Like, I need to get in church. I need to get my life right. Well, I continued going and I just continued going, and maybe a couple weeks after I started going, things just started, I felt like, changing in my life, and I got a weird feeling in my stomach a couple times that I went, and I just felt like that was God's calling, telling me that something was about to happen in my life and something big was about to happen and I was going to have changes. Well, 2 years ago, actually, I was sitting in the pew with my grandparents, and I just started bawling my eyes out during the invitation, and I tapped my Mimi on the shoulder and I was like, this is my calling. Like, I have to go to the front and talk to Brother Jeremy. Well, I walked down the aisle. I'm a very shy person, so doing things like this is not like normally my thing. Well, I'm walking down the aisle and I talked to Brother Jeremy, and I just let him know that I wanted to accept Christ into my life and be baptized. And then that next Sunday, I was baptized and accepted Christ into my life. And that was probably the biggest thing and that I have ever done and ever will do, and the thing that I'm like most thankful for. Like, I'm so glad that I did that.
A lot of people, they think that, going to church and being a good person and things like that. And I used to think that way too when I was very early and getting to know Jesus and stuff. But they think that gets them to heaven. And that's scary. It's scary that people think that way. You actually have to confess with your lips and believe in your heart that Jesus is your Lord and Savior. And so I had a instance like that too, where I knew who Jesus was, and all that stuff, and I knew that he was the King of Kings, but I didn't make him the king of my life. And so it's awesome that you did that. And so now you're gonna be in heaven with the rest of us.
I'm so happy. And to touch back on what you said about like, people think that prayer and just reading their Bible gets them to heaven. Brother Jeremy actually talks about that almost every single Sunday. We will touch something about that because I feel like there's a bunch of people in this world who really think that, oh, well, I'm a Christian. I read my Bible. I pray every single night. But I don't think that they fully grasp and understand what truly gets them into heaven. And that's like really important.
Right, it is. I think people, they try to make it more complicated than it is, because it really isn't that complicated.
No, it's not.
Thank God it isn't, because I wouldn't be able to handle it. A pastor that I follow, Joby Martin, he's out of Jacksonville, Florida. He says going to church every Sunday makes you a Christian just as much as putting your head in oven makes you a biscuit.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. Great. So you're saved. You're on the Jesus team. But let's talk about some of your sports. So you said you play basketball and softball. Let's kind of talk about basketball because we're in basketball season right now. And so you play for Doyle, and you guys are the Tigers. So give you a little background on Kassidy and myself. I'm a French Settlement Lion. Actually, I'm just a transplant. So we moved to French Settlement. My kids go to French Settlement. I do the live stream announcing. I help Boston out with that, with the live stream and announce. And Doyle just happens to be our rival, but and so we don't really like y'all, but I like you, so I got to pull for Doyle a little bit now. So tell us a little bit about basketball. How's it going?
So actually, we started our season. Basketball's rolling. Our very first game this season, I sprained my ankle. I stepped on a girl's foot, not even 2 minutes into the first quarter, and I have been in a boot on crutches, and I'm finally out of my boot to where I can walk normally, but I've been out for a very long time.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good in the season so far. Like you said, we actually just beat French Settlement and won the French Settlement Classic tournament, which is big for us. We're doing pretty good. We've had some ups and downs here and there, but we're coming together as a team and actually understanding like where we stand and what needs to be done to be able to play, and hoping that we can make it back to state and make our run where we were last year.
Yeah. So you ladies, that's the second year in a row that you've won the French Settlement Classic, which we don't like that either. But man, you girls, y'all have a pretty decent team too, and it looks like everybody kind of knows their role. You guys play pretty fast. You know what I've learned about girls basketball is it is viciously rough.
Oh yes.
Like you girls, y'all get after it. It's more like football on a basketball court. It seems like, but it's awesome that your team's having that success while you're not in the lineup. Obviously, I mean you're probably a pretty important piece of the puzzle. You're pretty close to a milestone. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm actually only about 70 points away from hitting my 1,000 points of my high school career, and I'm actually so excited because I should be coming back to play basketball within the next couple of weeks or so, and I'm hoping that I can get back going and get in the game and actually hit that, because that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because very rarely, you don't really see that much, especially coming from a small little 3A school right down the road in Livingston Parish. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. So 1,000-point milestone. And how many points are you away from it?
About 70 points.
About 70 points. And you can get that in one game, right? No.
Right.
Okay. You're injured, and so you've been out for a little while. And I know as an athlete, especially as hard as you play, and as much as the game means to you, that's got to be tough to sit out. How has your faith gotten you through this injury?
So I will say, as soon as I got injured, I had a lot of mental and physical challenges at the start, because I'm not used to stopping.
Right.
I'm used to going nonstop all year round. Well, I kind of just sat in my bed for a little while, and this is kind of weird to say, but I just stared at my wall, and I was talking to myself, trying to just talk myself through it, because for the longest time, I wasn't even able to get off the couch. I've been struggling with my ankle, and I just prayed nonstop. I know God is there for me, and He knows what's happening with my life. He knows what my future holds, and He knows where I will be at. So I relied on God, knowing that He knows, and He was telling me it is okay to take a break. Like I said, I'm a constant, nonstop player, and He's telling me this. I feel like this is His calling, telling me it is okay to slow down, and things are going to happen in your life. You are going to deal with injuries. You're going to deal with losses of your family. You're going to deal with hard mental and physical challenges like this, and I've just really relied on God a lot to get me through this, because He will get you through.
Yeah.
If you rely on Him and you put your trust in Him, He will get you through challenges.
That's
like
good.
this.
Yeah. A lot of times, I feel like when we go through stuff, God isn't the one that makes that happen. but he's the one that allows it to happen because, he wants to make sure that we are depending upon him.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he does a lot. That's awesome that, at such a young age, you can see that. And it will help you because, look, you're going to go through some mess, especially, you're about to, go up to college and play. And we'll get into that a little bit, with the whole softball thing. So might as well just jump into it now, So you're also a softball player. And what position do you play?
Third base.
Third base. And I've seen some clips of you. We ran a couple clips. You don't finish a game with a clean uniform, right? You're diving and
always diving, always dirty.
Yeah. Third base is a pretty tough spot to play in softball. That's a hot corner, right? Of basketball and softball, which one's your favorite?
I'm gonna have to go with softball just because I've been playing it a lot, and it just it's my favorite sport. It's my favorite sport.
Yeah. So Doyle is really good at softball. You go out to you guys' field and you got that big, beautiful state championship banner. And so you've been playing at Doyle for how long?
Since I was in 7th grade.
Okay, so 7th grade. So and you're a senior now.
Yes, sir.
The smaller schools you get to do that.
Yeah, they don't have a rule about that. So
Yeah.
I'm actually very thankful for that.
Yeah. And the Doyle softball team has been to the state championship game, I think, since you've been there twice, correct?
Yes.
Have you guys won this?
We haven't won it yet, but we were very close last year. We
Yeah.
lost by 1 run in the bottom of the 7th, whatever. But
It's tough.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, French Settlement was at the same park.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've been with French Settlement at the same park for the past 3 years.
Yeah. And so this year, your team, y'all have some pretty stout players. Like you've got you're going to play at Austin Peay. You got some other girls that are going to play college ball?
It's actually me and all of my friends, all of my senior friends. We're all going off. There's 5 of us.
Nice.
Yeah, 5 or 4 of us. We're all going off to play college softball somewhere.
That's good.
It's actually crazy to think because, again, we're a small 3A school. And to see us like that, it's pretty big.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a whole lot. So tell me, how does Austin Peay come into the conversation? Because you might have to tell a lot of us. Because I tell you, when
a lot of people are wondering.
Yeah, when I first started talking to you, and when me and your dad started talking a little bit, and then I think the reason that I reached out to you is because he made a post on Facebook. And somehow it got to me. But Austin Peay is where?
It's in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Clarksville, Tennessee. And that's about, for those of you that don't know, that's about an hour away from Nashville. And so you make sure you stay away from the party scene. But yeah, hour away from Nashville. Tennessee's a beautiful place. What drew you there?
Yeah, so I recently joined a new travel ball team, D1 Vision, and the coaches, Coach Tammy, Coach Beth, and all of the other ones, they just really accepted the fact that I have dealt with many challenges with my old team. And I explained to Coach Tammy what I wanted to do and where my goal was out of playing travel softball. And I really didn't want to go out of the state of Louisiana at first. I really just wanted to stay close to home. I'm a homebody type person.
Right.
So just really wanted to stay close to home. I didn't want to leave my family, my friends. Well, I get a call and a text from Coach Tammy, and she's like, we're going to go up to Clarksville, Tennessee, to Austin Peay. And at the time, I hadn't really heard of the school that much. I hadn't really done any research on it because, again, I didn't really want to go out of state.
Right.
Well, I go up there, and I notice how small and homey the college is. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. Well, the coaches I met, Coach Caleb, Coach Danny, and Coach Cassie, they were the most down-to-earth and easiest to talk to people that I have ever met. The players that were there that were walking us through the visit, they were so easy to talk to. Everything just, I don't know, it just clicked. Everything felt like home. And when I was in our nationals last year, I actually accepted it and took the offer from Austin Peay because I knew that's just where I needed to be, and that was going to be my future college and home.
That's good. So were there any other offers on the table? Like, was there any other colleges that were sniffing around maybe?
Yeah, I had some.
Yeah.
I had some other offers, but I don't know, something about Austin Peay that really hit me. And I just knew, like, I just needed to be there. Everything about it was just amazing, and I just love it up there.
So Clarksville, give me a little bit, like, what's it look like up there? Because I've been on the east side of Tennessee, and I've been to Memphis. The east side of Tennessee with the mountains and everything is beautiful.
Yeah.
So what's the scenery look like over there?
I mean, I haven't really done a lot of like digging or anything. I went up there for my visit, and everything's like right by each other. It's like a little town. Like, it's literally like, it looks like Livingston, the town of Livingston.
Well, there you go.
That's exactly what it looks like. It just looks like home.
Yeah.
And all the buildings and everything is right next to each other, and just, I don't know, it's just very small. And
that's exciting. Have you made it to a softball game that they've played?
I have not made it to a softball game.
Were you able to have you gone back online and try to look at some of the stuff?
I have looked at a bunch of stuff, and I will be going back up there January 16th through the 18th for my official visit, and I'll get to go to football games and look at the dorms and all that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good deal. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. My oldest son played a little college ball. It's a different level. You're going to find very quickly that it's going to be a job. And just your faith will play a big part in that. Have you researched any kind of churches or anything like that? Like this?
So I haven't actually, but I have actually talked to my grandma about that, because I'm like a big on going to church on Sundays. Whenever I'm off and I have time, I will go to church on Sundays. Like, even if me and my dad are road tripping, I'll pull it up and I'm watching it always. So that was one of my plans, was to do research and get into further depth about what the best churches are up there, and get plugged in somewhere up there.
Well, maybe somebody up from Clarksville, Tennessee might be watching this. Hopefully and they can grab you by the hand and bring you to their church. So, when you're getting ready to play ball, and you're getting mentally prepared and everything, what's something that you do that gets you prepared to get on the field or on the court?
Not usually, every single game before a basketball or softball game, I do not go a single game without saying a prayer, whether that be a team prayer or an individual prayer. I will not go a single game without saying my prayer, because like, that's just so important to me. Like, I believe that, like, I just believe in praying before every single game. And my dad, actually, every game that he's there, he will pull me to the side and we'll go behind the dugout and stuff, and we'll say our prayers. And that's what I do before every single game. I
love that. I love watching dads take their kids and pour Jesus into them. I love when that happens. So a lot of athletes that we talk to, they all have a Bible verse that they lean on, something that they maybe write on their glove. I think if you saw our interview with Alex, and you're friends with Alex,
yes,
Franklin.
Alex is one of my friends.
Yeah, so she was talking about some of the Bible, the one she has on her glove. Is there a Bible verse that maybe you have somewhere that you lean on a lot?
Yeah, I have written on the top of my visor, and I have a little keychain that I made, and it's 2 Chronicles 15:7, and it says, "But as for you, be strong and don't give up, for your work will be rewarded." And that I heard that verse one time, and it just instantly clicked into my brain, and I was like, this is the verse for me. Like, it described my whole entire life. Like, through those mental and physical challenges, I never really knew where I was going to end up, and I just know I relied on God, and at the end, my work will be rewarded. All the hard work and practices and traveling, everything is going to pay off in the end, and I'm going to end up where I need to be.
Yeah. So, you've made it to where you've gotten an offer to go play at the next level, which is something that not a lot of people get. When you think about it in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of people that they're going to finish their senior year in high school, and that's going to be the last time they play meaningful ball. So to think that you're at the spot where you get to go continue to play and at a D1 school at that, what's some kind of advice that you can give to that little girl that, she has dreams and aspirations to play college softball?
Yeah, so that's actually like one of my favorite questions to get asked, because I have two little twins that I give lessons to all the time, and they're my neighbors, and I think they look up to me a lot, and they see me as this big time, like, all-star. Like, I honestly think they see me as their role model.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to be like you when I get older. And I always tell them, like, if I could tell you anything, just, like, do not give up on your dreams, because at one point I was at my downfall, and I just really was at the point where I wanted to give up and just never, like, I wanted to never go again. I was done with sports. I was done with everything. And I just turned to God and relied on him and told myself, like, do not give up, because, like I said, your work will be rewarded.
Yeah,
there is an outcome, and there will be a good outcome by it.
That's awesome. So the twins, how old are they?
They're 7.
They're 7. Yeah. Well, so now that puts a little pressure on you, right? Because, now you have to walk it out, right? Because you got little eyes looking at you. A lot of athletes that, I don't think they completely get that and understand that, is that, you're not just doing it for you. Sometimes you're doing it, there's people watching you. I know that when I go to the games and I'm watching the French Settlement, there's this little kid, man, and he's got long hair, and I see him every time. And every time Jackson Tuning gets on the court, that little dude is locked in. Man, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so he's locked into him, and I'm telling you, man, it'll make you realize, like, I'm doing this for more than one reason.
Yeah, and that's
right?
exactly how it makes me feel. Like, I feel like I need to be to my best and show faith through these other people, and be to my best as what I can be to these young kids, because I've always been told, like, you are their role model and you are who they look up to.
So and I might be putting you on the spot right here, but
okay.
do you share your faith with those two little twins?
Well, I actually just started, like, giving them lessons and stuff, so I think they're more on the thing where they're not going to understand if I explain to them something. But I feel like the way that I explain things to them and get them to understand it, like, as they grow older, I will be able to talk to them and explain to them where I was at one point, and they'll be able to understand it.
That's good. Yeah, and you just keep walking it out, man, and they'll be able to see that. That's great. So let's ask some fun questions. I kind of had you grilled up a little bit and kind of put on the spot a couple times. So, favorite worship song?
My favorite worship song is probably "Trusting God" by Elevation Worship.
That's a good
just
one.
Like, I don't know, every single lyric, it's just like trusting God. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's I've been into the whole Brandon Lake thing lately.
It's all over my TikTok.
Yeah,
all over my TikTok.
The hard fought hallelujah.
Yes.
God, I don't think
That's his new song. It is so good.
He's got another one coming out. I think this week. So it's that one's gonna, and I think he's with Chris Brown from Elevation Worship in that song. On a softball field, would you rather hit a bomb or would you rather make an outstanding defensive play?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question. I'm gonna have to go with defensive play, just because being on third base, it's a hot corner. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when I make that big play, everybody's eyes just are like, oh my gosh, like, she just made that play.
Yeah.
Because that's happened to me before. I'd make a good play and everybody would look at me and they're like, oh my gosh, like, that was good. And then they just talk about it for a while. Because I have hit home runs before in my past, and it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same as when I make a good defensive play. It just feels good when I make that play. Man,
that's so. I wasn't any good at playing ball or anything like that, but I would rather just hit tanks the whole time. Actually, I would rather be the DH. You don't have to put me in the field. I would just rather just get up there and hit bombs. Where do you bat in the lineup? Like, give us a little bit about that.
All right. So for travel ball, I actually, this past fall, I was the leadoff batter.
Okay.
Because I guess I have pretty good eyes when I'm up to bat, and I just start off. This past season, I actually started off with like 15 walks in one tournament. That's how I started it off. But for high school ball, I bat fourth or fifth. I switch around with the girl that's behind me. Just The first 3 batters that we have are all left-handers.
Are they slappers?
The first leadoff batter is a slapper,
Yeah.
and then the second one is more of a power hitter, and then the third one is more like a contact hitter. She can do whatever you ask her to do. And then me and the person that's behind me, we come up and we're power,
Yeah.
and we hit them in. So that's how it's been, and it's all 5 of us seniors, all starting 5 in the top of the lineup.
Okay, so well, good. It's good to know that y'all are so heavy senior laden that maybe this year y'all chill out after this year.
Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like it's been forever since we've been at Doyle. Everybody always asks. They're like, "Y'all are still here?" Yeah, we've been here since 7th grade.
Yeah, I told somebody that I was talking to. I was like, I'm interviewing Kassidy Rivero. She plays for Doyle, so I'm gonna have to find a way to pull for the Doyle softball team, and I'll do it. I'll be there. I'm gonna come support you. But yeah, that's great. So, well, hopefully, you're going. Hopefully, get that release tomorrow.
I'm praying.
Fingers crossed. We'll definitely be praying for you, so you can get on the court and get to those 1,000 points. How many points are you away again?
Like 70 points.
70 points. So, but the good thing is we're midway through the season, and so we'll be able to track you on that. We'll keep tabs on you, and then softball season's right around the corner. So how do you balance that? Like, how do you guys do that? Y'all are going to be probably playing playoff basketball while everybody else is playing softball. Does your school let you do both at the same time?
So we have been allowed to do both. We usually, it's so chaotic. And our softball coach, I would say, shout out to Coach Kyle. He does a great job with our schedule and managing everything with basketball, working our games around our practices, games around our games. We usually go, some days at the end of our basketball season, we'll go straight from basketball practice which will end around 2:30, and then we'll go straight to softball practice, which will end around 5. So it's just nonstop practice.
Yeah.
And then we'll just weight lift with softball, then go to basketball practice. We've just been doing it for so long. It's just like, hey, we're doing this, then we're going to do this.
Yeah, that's just life now, huh?
Yep.
So all right, good. So softball season's right around the corner. I'm going to be pulling for you guys to get that ring. Yeah, it's because you guys deserve it. I mean, y'all been there so many times. You're so close. Yep. Lost by one last year. Yeah, so you just got to go fight and go earn it. And so we'll be pulling for you guys on that. So anyway, Kassidy Rivero, thanks for stopping in and thanks for talking to us. I think we got a lot of good stuff out there. And you just keep walking the walk. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Get off that injury, get those 1,000 points, and then go win a state title, and then head up to Austin Peay and get those 4 years of college ball in. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Faith Under the Lights. We'll see you next time.